What do you make of what's going on with the PA?
Well, as we're talking about master deflectors, J.C. Treader is one of them as well. Because as soon as Lloyd Howell's improprieties came to light, all of a sudden, when J.C. resigned, it was, we didn't really vote for him as the executive committee. We had voted for the other guy, and the 32 board of representatives were the ones who voted for him. And then he had the whole thing that he didn't know about the collusion, but he, as I've talked to people, he's really great at riling up a room and getting guys to rally and believe in him. And so he always finds a scapegoat or an enemy. And so then it's like, oh man, like, let's get behind him. So for him, he's like, hey, I've been in this, this organization. I've been at the top. I've helped with the negotiation for the last CBA. And then when we had to renegotiate because of COVID, and I know the fights and the battles that we have to be. And if you look at the way that the whole thing was set up, look, they had David White, their interim, and then they had Tim Pernetti, who was the conference, America Conference commissioner. And that was the three they had. If that was a wide net, it was basically a slam dunk for JC to win.
But Treader wasn't even involved at first. All of a sudden, he ends up in it.
Exactly.
Because he stepped down as well.
Right, exactly. But the guys on the executive committee are all guys who served on that committee when JC was their president.
They're loyal most to him. Of them.
Right. And so they were like, hey, I know that the president, Jalen Reeves-Maben, really does not care for his role, doesn't like it very much, but he leaned on JC a lot. So now JC's going to be back. He can kind of, let JC handle the dirty work, and then they'll roll. And so it is, like you said, it's a mess. I would have, and I know there were some guys who did have real questions, but at the same time, the whole player body, 2,000 players, sadly, a lot of these guys don't care about the union. They don't realize how important it is for their futures, for the business of football. And, there are a lot of even veterans that just want nothing to do with it. And so they didn't even have full attendance from the 32 teams there. The Rams are right there in L.A., and they were in San Diego. Their team rep didn't even go. And so
because they rested, Mike, they rested. Yeah. Like the thing of it is this: as a guy who was on that committee, look, we knew and learned and we fought. We didn't give a damn about Roger Goodell or who had Paul Tagliabue all the way back. These guys today don't have a damn clue of what they're dealing with. And then you got a guy who I think playing both sides of the fence in J.C. Treader, where he's trying to please the NFL while robbing the damn NFLPA. He needs to be a person that people come after. And I think, listen, they got another guy, I don't know if he's your relative, called Mr. Jones. He knows every damn thing. Yep. And he's been making a circus. That right there, that dude, he was raised by some parents who taught him how to do everything the right way. They better be careful. That's all I got to say.
And it's unfortunate that more players were not caring enough to listen to people like Mr. Jones and others who raise concerns because I'm worried that they're putting themselves in a bad spot there.
They are.
Interesting times coming, man, especially with the league trying to hammer through this 18th game and what looks like kind of a yes man getting that position in what looks like kind of a rigged vote. Let's switch it to the actual football, right, because that's what we enjoy a lot more. Talking with our friend Mike Jones here on the Rude Guest Hotline. You can follow Mike at by Mike Jones. Check out all of his work in The Athletic. Mike, I know you're keeping an eye on the entire league, but Washington, one of the more active teams in free agency, both volume and dollars. What do you make of Washington's start to the offseason?
I thought that they did a good job of really addressing needs, like getting faster and younger on defense, getting more pass rushers, fortifying, getting a piece to fortify their secondary. They added depth for their wide receiver position, winning in the trenches with Tim Settle coming back, and they added some depth at the running back position there. So it'll be interesting to see how they go at it in the draft because they've really met a lot of needs. Now they want to continue to build through the draft, but they got some important pieces on both sides of the ball through free agency, and still I think it was like $50 million that they still have that they can spend, in salary cap money if they see other veteran needs that they need after the draft comes to plug some more holes.
For sure, BMitch and I think they've done a lot here. But I think the 7th pick is still wide open for them. I don't like. Yes, they added pass rush, but if David Bailey or Reuben Bain or somebody's there, I think they could still take them. I think Love, Tate, I think those are all real options. What are you hearing about Jeremiah Love? Because he seems like the hottest topic, and you hear
especially for the fans.
Tennessee might want him, and then Schefter randomly says Tennessee's not interested. Like, what has your take been on the Love train?
It's so hard to tell what's real and what's, at this time, we say it's lying season, because you'll hear some say, oh, they're not interested because they're trying to okey doke everybody into not thinking they're going to jump up and try to get him. And then some teams say that they do like him. He would be an intriguing piece, a dynamic offensive weapon for you, and we'll see how it plays out. Like you said, they really have put them in position so they could get a top-level pass rusher, or they could get an impact running back or a wide receiver. It's a good thing for them, and I don't think they could go wrong if it's one of the 3 of those positions, because they're all positions of need, and every franchise that is successful has talent at those 3 positions.
I think we've seen this team go in the draft sometime and not know what they need to do, but I think they have positioned themselves very well where – they're not forced to do anything at this point.
No, I don't think so. And, I think that they've done a better job this offseason in positioning them. Like you said, sometimes it feels kind of aimless, or they're kind of like waiting to see what's going to happen. But now they're in a good position here. Some of those moves last year in free agency, weren't really keeping with the plan that Adam Peters had talked about when he first came here. Now it feels like he got back to, okay, we're going to use free agency to fill certain spots, and then we're going to build through the draft. And now they can get some real franchise cornerstones, like you said, whether it's an elite level pass rusher, or whether it's a running back, whether it's wide receiver. They are just in better position to really make an impact move rather than be beholden to what else other people do and just hope for the best.
Mike, the Brandon Ayuk thing has been a big topic amongst fans, and I guess everybody else. He even basically said he wants to come here. You look at the fact that the 49ers are basically, they're not doing him any favors, and I don't think they are forced to. And then you look at the Commanders. How long do you think they can wait for this whole situation to happen? If they're going to go on and build stuff, or they're going to wait because they may consider him a piece of their plan?
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think that a lot of clarity comes to the draft when people are either able to get a piece that they want or they're not, and then the asking price when a team is saying, hey, we want this pick, and you decide, okay, we're in better position, we can pull the trigger on this. Obviously it's better for everybody if they get this thing done sooner than later, but we've seen trades, this last week. I think there was like 4 straight days of trades, but I think that things will heat up closer to the draft. It's going to be interesting because the 49ers have decisions to make there. With Ayuk, you can't really come back there. They got decisions to make with Trent Williams, in his, contract situation. So the 49ers got a lot of, balls up in the air, and we'll decide, have to decide, fairly quickly, especially as the draft gets here, and then we'll start seeing those dominoes fall.
Mike, what have you heard anything about this Brian Thomas stuff down in Jacksonville? You think that's at all a possibility?
I don't think so. From what I was told, that they don't plan on trading him. They want to keep him. So I guess
he's a hell of a player, and he's young, so it makes sense.
For sure. But at the same time, is like, look, for them, they need a valuable weapon. Travis Hunter, they drafted him, and sounds like instead of being a two-way guy, they're really going to primarily use him as a DB. So you don't want to lose, Brian Thomas. That they need. He was a valuable weapon for their offense. Obviously they have some other wide receivers, but from what I was told, that's not a guy they want to let get away from them.
And last fun for me, I feel like I could ask you these questions all day. A guy well, we spent a lot of time in Ashburn listening to him talk. Kirk Cousins. What do you think happens with Kirko?
I'm not quite sure. This is another one that I think that we might have to wait until after the draft to see what people were able to get as far as quarterbacks. Is it somebody that, got a young guy, but he's going to have to sit a little bit? I'm interested in seeing, okay, the Raiders obviously have the number 1 pick there. obviously they're familiar with that system. I don't think that Cousins would want to go there. I think he would rather go somewhere where he can play right now. Minnesota had been a team that I had told that might be interested in bringing him back, but then they got Kyler Murray, so that kind of crossed him off. And then Atlanta, even though he was a free agent, he could have wound up coming back there, but that kind of got crossed off. So the spots, it's almost like musical chairs. These chairs are getting taken away little by little. He's going to wind up finding somewhere, but there's not a team that right now looks like they're really desperate, for, his services, or, other veterans, are still out there as well. But again, once the draft comes and we see, okay, who was able to fill certain holes, get the quarterbacks, whether, okay, this guy's going to need to sit for a little bit and need a veteran mentor, then I think we'll start to see.
All right.
Hey, Mike, we appreciate you making time
Mike.
for us, man. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully it's a quiet one. I'm sure it'll be full with kids' sports for you.
All right, man. Yes, you were exactly right. And enjoy a couple drinks with me, guys.
Will do, man.
All right.
The great Mike Jones. Who?
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones from The Athletic. You can give him a follow at @ByMikeJones, Twitter and Instagram. Read all of his work in The Athletic. Really good reporter. I'll be looking forward to seeing Jonesy in a couple weeks in Arizona.